Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and today we're going to have a look at the tropical weather outlook again from NOAA. So currently there's no activity in the Central Pacific, nor Eastern Pacific either. A lot of it's happening in the Atlantic right now, so we'll skip quickly to there. As you can see, there's two tropical areas, one quite significant, Isaias, I think it's pronounced. I don't think anyone really knows how to pronounce that, to be honest. And then there's another significant development, which has got a 40% chance of developing. We'll have a look at that first. So it's got a 4% chance of developing in the next 48 hours, and a 60% chance within the next 5 days. But a brief read through this, it doesn't look like it's really going to impact any areas significantly. As it says at the end of the paragraph, it's likely to move northwestward and then still several hundred miles southwest of Bermuda by the middle to latter part of the week. So currently it doesn't look like it's going to be doing anything really to affect any significant land masses or significant areas. So it just looks like it might become a tropical cyclone, perhaps a tropical storm, but at the moment just generally looks like it's just going to be a tropical depression. It's just an unstable area with a lot of thunderstorms and some fairly gusty winds. But again, its track can change, and we've seen that before where systems like this have moved towards land, even though they're forecasted to move in a different direction. Remember, the atmosphere can change very quickly, so again, we'll have to continue to keep an eye on that. But at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to impact us. But if we have a look at Storm I'm not even going to pronounce it. Storm I. Tropical Storm I. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. It's got maximum sustained winds of 70 miles an hour right now. But if we have a look at its forecast cone, you can see it's expected to re-strengthen again to a Category 1 hurricane. We didn't expect that yesterday. It looked like there was going to be a lot of wind shear around, which was going to sort of inhibit it from developing, and it was going to. And as if you've seen on radar images recently, it's been mainly an eastern-dominated storm. A lot of the rain band's been on the northern and eastern side of the storm, with nothing really to the west, just some strong winds. So we haven't seen significant rainfall around in Florida, but we've seen a lot of winds and stuff, and a few bands of significant rain. It does look like it's going to re-strengthen and potentially cover the whole eye in the centre of the storm, and there's a hurricane. Looks like there's a hurricane watch for South Carolina into North Carolina, and then tropical storm watches all the way up the eastern coast, really, in tropical storm warnings, even around New York and areas like that. It's going to remain fairly strong as it moves through. If we have a look at the wind speed probabilities, so as you can see, tropical storm winds have got about an 80% chance of going along the whole eastern coast. Almost 100% in South Carolina, North Carolina. It does look like it's going to go across land and remain quite strong as it enters the northeast. So you see, it does look like there's a large area of land there. It's very likely to see some very strong tropical storm winds. So I have to keep an eye on that. Hurricane force winds, again, a very small area. As it's expected to turn back to a hurricane just before landfall, before weakening again as it makes landfall. So this area could grow a bit larger and could affect South Carolina, North Carolina, but again, it's very touch and go really. We'll have a look at peak surge now. So you can see very quite significant surges and swells around, again, that South Carolina, North Carolina coast, where we're expecting landfall to be made just in this general area before it just maintains tracks up towards New York. So at the moment, it just does look like around 1 to 3 feet widely, perhaps 2 to 4, and even 3 to 5 feet in this small area here. So that's quite significant. It's quite a significant storm surge, which could give some flooding to some coastal areas. If you look at arrival time of wind, you can see this whole area is going to be pretty much done by the middle of the week. So it's quite fast moving. So it'll be done by the end of this week. Pretty certain of that. But it's going to be the next couple of days where we're going to see the most significant impacts through the east and the northeast. So we'll have to keep an exact eye, or you're going to have to keep an exact eye if you are in those areas on what is happening. if we have a look, lastly, at we'll have a look at rainfall. So we'll have a look at flash flooding first. So you can see there's quite a moderate chance of flash flooding, even when it does decrease in strength down to a tropical storm, as there will still be a lot of moisture feeding it, not maintaining its hurricane or or significant tropical storm strength, but again, generally creating a lot of rain. So we could see some quite large areas of flash flooding, especially where it makes landfall, and as that probably northern band of rain is most significant. But again, a lot of areas could see some flash flooding as there's quite a large area. If we have a look at rainfall potential, so you see the rainfall potential, you can see again, that's where we expect its track to go. So where the centre of the storm really goes, where we can see the most significant amount of rain. And 6 inches, maybe 10 inches potential in some of these central and eastern areas. Along the coast, though, it doesn't look too significant, so it does look like it's going to come inland. So again, on the coast, although there is a storm surge risk and significant wind risk, it does look like the rainfall is mainly going to be onshore, or the significant rainfall is, but widely 2 to 4 inches, and then locally maybe 6 and even up to 10 in some areas. So it's going to be a very significant storm, this, even though it's only a tropical storm and maybe a Cat 1 when it makes landfall. It's still going to provide quite significant impacts for quite widespread areas. Because before we've seen Category 5 hurricanes, and it might have affected a few islands here or there, and not really made any impact on mainland US or mainland on some of the Caribbean islands. But again, you can see that storms don't have to be that strong wind-wise to still provide some very significant impacts. So again, keep an eye on the weather forecast for the next day or two to see any changes that may come with this. But it does look like at the moment it's pretty certain this is the track it's going to take, and this is where the most significant impacts will be. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe new, and I'll see you again maybe tomorrow for another update, or maybe you might have a look at the British heatwave, which we might be seeing, well, another British heatwave, maybe a quite sustained heatwave, maybe by the end of this week. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have a look at the forecast maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. But anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you again.